On Christmas Eve, 1945, in the quiet hills of West Virginia, the Sodder family gathered inside their farmhouse for what should have been a peaceful holiday night. 9 children, 2 parents. A warm house glowing with light and laughter, but that night would end in fire, and a mystery that has never been solved. The Sodders were a hardworking family living in Fayetteville. George Sodder had built a successful trucking business, and life in the Appalachian Mountains was stable, ordinary, predictable. But in the weeks before Christmas, something strange began happening. A man came to the house asking questions about wiring. Another warned George that his home could go up in smoke. At the time, they seemed like odd encounters, nothing more. Still, something was quietly off. On the night of December 24th, the family settled into their routine. 5 of the youngest children stayed downstairs playing with new Christmas toys. The rest went to bed upstairs. Everything felt normal until just after midnight. Jenny Sodder woke suddenly to a loud sound on the roof, like something heavy striking and rolling across it. Then, silence. Moments later, a fire began inside the house. Flames spread quickly. Smoke filled the hallways. George and Jenny rushed to wake their children. Some made it out. Others were still upstairs. 5 children were now trapped inside. George tried to force his way back into the burning home again and again. Each attempt was driven back by collapsing heat and smoke. The fire was too fast, too intense. Then came something even stranger. The family's extension ladder, usually stored beside the house, was gone. Desperate, George ran to start his trucks. He planned to ram the house and climb inside. But both vehicles refused to start. They had worked perfectly just hours before. A neighbor tried to call for help. The phone line was dead. Later, investigators confirmed something critical. The line had not burned. It had been cut. By dawn, the house was gone. Firefighters searched the ruins expecting to find remains, but something didn't add up. They found almost nothing. No clear evidence of the 5 missing children inside the debris. This was the first fracture in the official story. Authorities concluded the children had died in the fire. But George and Jenny could not accept that answer. Too many things didn't make sense. The cut phone line, the missing ladder, the disabled trucks. The missing remains. Each clue stood alone, but together they formed something disturbing. Then came another possibility. Witnesses began reporting sightings. Children matching the Sodders' descriptions were seen in other towns, in diners on highways, in hotels. Most reports couldn't be confirmed, but they couldn't be fully dismissed either. Years passed. The Sodders refused to stop searching. They hired investigators, followed leads, tracked rumors across the country. They believed their children were still alive somewhere. Then, more than 20 years later, an anonymous letter arrived. Inside was a photograph. A young man who resembled one of the missing boys, Louis Sodder, the oldest child. The family put up a large billboard along a highway in West Virginia. It displayed the children's faces. A permanent plea for answers decade after decade. It stood there, weathering time. Receiving no final answer, investigators revisited the case repeatedly. Some believed the fire was accidental. Others believed it was deliberate. A third theory suggested abduction during the chaos, but none could be proven. Each theory explained something while breaking something else. Even the land itself changed. The farmhouse was never rebuilt. Nature slowly reclaimed it. And over time, the physical evidence disappeared, but the questions did not. Today, only fragments remain. A cut wire, a missing ladder, a failed investigation, a photograph with no confirmation, a family that never stopped searching. George and Jenny Sodder spent the rest of their lives believing their children were still alive. They never accepted the fire as the final answer, and they died without knowing the truth. So what really happened that night? Did 5 children perish in an unusually destructive fire? Or were they taken while the world believed they were gone? Even after nearly 80 years, no one can say for certain. The Sodder case remains officially unsolved. No arrests, no convictions, no confirmed remains. Only questions that refuse to fade. If you've made it this far, what do you believe? Was it tragedy or something far more deliberate? Let us know your theory in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy deep, unresolved mysteries, like and subscribe for more investigations into stories history still can't explain.